Raymond Douglas believed he had finally found the peaceful retirement and loving companionship he had worked 40 years to earn. But on a humid morning in Hua Hin in November 2024, he returned from his daily beach walk to find his villa empty, his wife May vanished, and discovered that the property deed, vehicle registration, and cafe business license, representing his entire $480,000 investment, were all registered solely in her name, with no legal recourse available to him. The villa stood silent and hollow when Ray pushed open the unlocked front door. The furniture was gone, the teak dining set they had selected together, the comfortable couch where they had watched sunsets, the bed they had shared. The kitchen appliances had been removed. Even the curtains were taken down. The walls bore pale rectangles where their framed photographs had hung just yesterday morning. Ray walked through the empty rooms, his footsteps echoing on bare tile, and found a single envelope on the kitchen counter, the only object remaining in the entire house. Inside was a brief handwritten note in English. "I'm sorry. My family needs me in Chiang Mai. The house and business must be sold to pay debts. Do not try to find me. May." He tried calling her mobile. The number was no longer in service. He checked his bank account on his phone and discovered their joint account showed a balance of $37. The remaining funds, after systematic withdrawals over the past week, had drained $230,000. His car keys were missing, and when he went outside, his Toyota Camry was gone from the carport. But this story does not begin with an empty villa and a goodbye note. It begins 19 months earlier, in a Hua Hin cafe, where a recently retired Australian engineer dropped his wallet while paying his bill, and a helpful young woman returned it with a smile that would ultimately cost him everything he owned. Raymond Douglas retired from his electrical engineering career in March 2023 at age 61, after 40 years of steady, unspectacular work for mining companies across Western Australia. Ray had never been ambitious in the traditional sense. He had no desire to climb corporate ladders or accumulate wealth beyond comfortable sufficiency. He simply wanted to do good work, live modestly, and eventually retire somewhere warm where his money would stretch further than expensive Perth. Ray's personal life had been equally unspectacular. Never married, no children, a series of relationships in his 20s and 30s that faded without drama or particular heartbreak. By his 50s, Ray had accepted probable permanent solitude. Without much emotion, he was simply someone more suited to independence than partnership. His retirement finances were solid through decades of frugal living and strategic property investment. He owned his suburban Perth home outright, worth approximately $380,000 Australian dollars. He also owned an investment property in Fremantle, worth $220,000. When he sold both properties in preparation for retirement overseas, Ray netted approximately $550,000 Australian dollars, approximately $365,000 US dollars. Plus, he had superannuation and savings, totaling another $170,000 Australian dollars. Total liquid assets, approximately $720,000 Australian dollars, approximately $480,000 US dollars. Enough to retire comfortably in Southeast Asia, where Ray had vacationed several times and admired the warm climate, low costs, and relaxed lifestyle. Ray chose Hua Hin, Thailand, for his retirement destination. The coastal town south of Bangkok attracted foreign retirees with its beautiful beaches, established expat community, reasonable property costs, and infrastructure developed enough to provide healthcare and amenities without Bangkok's overwhelming density. Ray visited Hua Hin twice, in late 2022, to explore neighborhoods, meet other expats, and confirm his decision. He moved to Hua Hin permanently in April 2023, initially renting a one-bedroom apartment near the beach for 20,000 baht monthly, approximately 900 Australian dollars. The apartment was adequate, furnished, air-conditioned, with a small balcony overlooking the street. Ray settled into expatriate routines, morning walks on the beach, afternoons reading or managing his investments online, evenings at expat pubs or restaurants. His social circle developed slowly. Ray was naturally reserved, not inclined toward loud camaraderie or bar culture common among some expat groups. He preferred quiet conversations with the handful of other retirees he met through a walking group and a weekly expat meetup at a local cafe called The Beach House. It was at the Beach House Cafe in early June 2023 that Ray met Malai Sutham, though she introduced herself as May. Ray had been paying his bill at the counter when his wallet slipped from his hand, spilling Thai baht and credit cards across the floor. Ray bent to collect everything, and a young Thai woman who had been sitting nearby came over to help. "You drop this one under table," she said in clear English, handing him a 20 baht note and his Medicare card. "Be careful, important things should stay safe." "Thank you," Ray replied, genuinely grateful. "Clumsy of me." "Not clumsy, just accident," the woman said with a warm smile. "You are Australian? I can tell from accent." They chatted briefly. May explained she worked as a spa receptionist and came to the beach house on her breaks because it was near her workplace and served good coffee. Ray mentioned he was retired and new to Hua Hin. The conversation was pleasant but brief. May needed to return to work, and Ray had no reason to prolong the interaction. But Ray began seeing May regularly at the beach house over the following weeks. She always greeted him warmly, sometimes sitting at his table if he was alone, occasionally bringing him a free coffee she claimed the cafe owner gave her as an employee of a nearby business. Their conversations remained light. May would ask about Ray's life in Australia, his adjustment to Thailand, his impressions of Hua Hin. Ray found her easy to talk to, non-judgmental, and genuinely interested, rather than performing friendliness for tips or financial benefit. What distinguished May from other Thai women Ray encountered was her apparent lack of interest in his money. She paid for her own coffees, refused when Ray offered to buy her lunch, and never asked questions about his financial situation. She presented as self-sufficient and independent, exactly the opposite of the transactional interactions Ray had observed between other expats and Thai women at bars and nightclubs. "I have my own job, my own money," May explained when Ray insisted on buying her coffee one afternoon. "I don't need man to pay for me. My mother raised me to be independent, not to depend on men for money." This declaration of independence was itself a calculated element of May's approach. By explicitly rejecting financial assistance, she positioned herself as different from other Thai women, making Ray believe any relationship that developed would be based on genuine compatibility rather than economic exchange. By August 2023, their relationship had evolved beyond cafe acquaintances to friendship and then to romance. May would visit Ray's apartment, cook Thai meals for him, stay overnight with increasing frequency. She introduced Ray to her mother, a dignified woman in her 60s, who spoke limited English but welcomed Ray warmly into her modest home in a working-class Hua Hin neighborhood. Ray felt himself developing deeper feelings than he had experienced in decades. May was affectionate, attentive, and seemed genuinely to enjoy his company. At 61, after years of solitude, Ray had found someone who made him feel valued and less alone. In September, May suggested Ray should consider buying property rather than continuing to rent. "You pay 20,000 baht every month for apartment that will never be yours," she observed. "If you buy small house or villa, you own something. Your money builds value instead of disappearing into rent." Ray had been thinking similarly. He had approximately $480,000 US in liquid assets, and spending 900 Australian dollars monthly on rent felt wasteful. Purchasing property outright would eliminate housing costs permanently and provide long-term security. "The problem is foreign ownership law," May explained carefully. "In Thailand, foreigners cannot own land. You can own condominium unit, but not land or house on land. For villa or house, you need Thai person to own the land. Many foreigners do long-term lease, or they have Thai girlfriend or wife own property with legal agreement protecting them." Ray had researched this and knew May was describing actual Thai property law. Foreign land ownership was indeed restricted, with various legal structures allowing foreigners practical if not legal ownership. "If we're becoming serious," Ray said carefully, "and if you're comfortable with it, perhaps we could look at properties together. If we're building a future, maybe it makes sense for us to invest in a home as partners." May seemed hesitant. "Ray, I don't want you to think I'm like other Thai women who just want foreign boyfriend to buy them house. That's not who I am. I have job, I have my own life. I don't need your money." "I know that," Ray assured her. "That's exactly why I trust you. This isn't about me buying you a house. This is about us building something together as partners." They married in October 2023 at Hua Hin District Office, a simple administrative ceremony with May's mother and two of Ray's expat friends as witnesses. Ray felt some unease about marrying after just 4 months, but he was 61 years old and tired of being cautious. May made him happy. That was enough. After marriage, they began searching for property. May handled most of the viewings, reporting back to Ray about suitable options. She identified a small villa in a quiet neighborhood, 3 kilometers from the beach, a 2-bedroom concrete structure with small garden, carport, and enough space to potentially add a small cafe or shop that May dreamed of operating. The asking price was 4,500,000 baht, approximately 180,000 Australian dollars or 120,000 US dollars. May negotiated it down to 4 million baht, approximately 106,000 US dollars, and they proceeded with purchase in November 2023. Because they were married and Ray was a foreigner, the property was registered in May's name as a Thai citizen. The lawyer handling the transaction assured Ray this was standard procedure and that as the husband, he had rights to the property, even though legal title was in May's name. Conjugal property law protects you, the lawyer explained. Property acquired during marriage belongs to both spouses. Her name on title is just legal formality because foreigners cannot own land. Ray signed documents in Thai with English translations, trusting the lawyer's guidance and May's explanations. The purchase was completed, and they moved into their villa in December 2023. Ray had spent $106,000 of his $480,000, leaving him with $374,000. Raymond Douglas's story reveals how legitimate property laws become weapons in sophisticated scams when trust replaces verification. If this resonates, subscribe for more investigations into property fraud, the exploitation of legal systems designed to protect local ownership, and the real cost of building dreams on foundations you don't legally control. Your awareness could save someone from Ray's devastating fate. Through late 2023 and early 2024, Ray and May's life in Hua Hin developed into the retirement dream Ray had envisioned. They furnished their villa together, approximately $15,000 spent on furniture, appliances, and home improvements. May would cook elaborate Thai meals, and Ray would help with gardening and maintenance. They took weekend trips to nearby beaches and waterfalls. Ray felt genuine contentment for the first time in years, but May had also been planting seeds for the next phase of her plan. In January 2024, she raised the idea of opening a small cafe in their villa's front room. The location was on a street with moderate foot traffic, and May believed they could attract neighborhood customers and tourists with authentic Thai food and good coffee. "I've always wanted my own business," May explained, "and you have business experience from engineering projects. Together, we could build something meaningful, not just for profit, but for community, a place people feel welcome." Ray liked the idea. It would give May purpose beyond just being his wife, would provide social connection for both of them, and might generate modest income to supplement Ray's investment returns. They discussed budget approximately $30,000, would cover renovations to create a cafe space, commercial kitchen equipment, initial inventory, furniture, and business licensing. "I'll handle all the Thai paperwork," May offered. "Business registration, health permits, tax registration, it's all in Thai, and very complicated for foreigners. You focus on design and equipment selection. I'll handle legal requirements." Ray agreed gratefully. Navigating Thai bureaucracy was exhausting, and having May manage that aspect seemed like sensible division of labor. Over the next 3 months, May supposedly worked with lawyers and government offices to establish the business legally. Ray saw various documents in Thai with English translations, signed where indicated, and trusted May's explanations of what he was approving. The cafe opened in May 2024 with a modest celebration. Neighbors attended, some of Ray's expat friends came, and May's family was present. The cafe was named Sunset Corner, a cheerful space with local art on the walls, comfortable seating, and a menu of Thai and Western breakfast and lunch items. May managed daily operations while Ray helped with morning prep, greeted customers, and handled finances. Or more accurately, Ray believed he was handling finances, but May actually controlled all business accounts and provided Ray with summaries rather than direct access to books. Thai tax law is complicated for business owned by foreigner. Thai marriage, May explained when Ray asked to review detailed accounts. Better if I manage everything through Thai accountant and just give you summaries. Simpler and protects us from any legal problems. Ray accepted this explanation. The cafe seemed reasonably busy. Customers appeared satisfied, and May reported they were breaking even or making small profit acceptable for a new business. But in reality, the cafe was registered entirely in May's name, with Ray having no legal ownership or signatory authority. When Ray signed documents in Thai, he had unknowingly signed affidavits stating he had no ownership interest in the business and was merely providing financial support to his wife's enterprise. The lawyer May used was complicit in the scheme, producing documents designed to look like partnership agreements but actually transferring all control to May. In June 2024, May suggested they should get a vehicle for convenience, managing cafe supply runs, visiting markets, weekend trips. Ray agreed and purchased a Toyota Camry for 850,000 baht, approximately $22,000. Like the house and business, the vehicle was registered in May's name. Ray signed transfer documents without fully understanding what he was approving. By mid-2024, Ray had spent approximately $150,000 beyond the original house, purchased $30,000 on the cafe, $22,000 on the car, $15,000 on furnishings, and various other expenses. His remaining liquid assets were approximately $224,000. Throughout this period, May had also been encouraging Ray to consolidate his finances for easier management. She suggested they should have a joint Thai bank account where Ray's investment income and any cafe profits would be deposited, with both of them having access for household and business expenses. It's more convenient, May explained. Right now, you have money in Australian accounts, some in Thai accounts. It's complicated to track. If we put everything in one place, we both can access. Managing our life is simpler. Ray eventually agreed, opening a joint account at Bangkok Bank and gradually transferring funds from his various accounts. By August 2024, Ray had approximately $230,000 in the joint Bangkok Bank account, with another $70,000 remaining in Australian accounts as backup security. What Ray did not realize was that May had been gradually withdrawing funds from the joint account, not large amounts that would trigger Ray's attention, but steady $5,000 to $10,000 transfers to other accounts Ray had no visibility into. May claimed these were business expenses, supplier payments, or money sent to her mother for family medical bills. Ray trusted her explanations without demanding detailed documentation. In September 2024, May announced she needed to visit her sister in Chiang Mai. The sister was having marriage problems and needed May's support for a few weeks. Ray offered to come along, but May insisted he should stay to manage the cafe. "You're better with customers anyway," May said, "and someone needs to stay with the business. I'll be back in 2 weeks, maybe 3 at most. It's family matter, very emotional, very private. I need to handle it alone." Ray understood and supported May's family loyalty. She left for Chiang Mai on September 20th, taking a bus because she claimed to dislike flying. Ray managed the cafe in her absence, assuming he was simply covering while his wife handled family crisis. But May never went to Chiang Mai. She went to Bangkok, where she met with buyers she had already arranged for the villa and began the process of transferring title officially. The house sale had been negotiated weeks earlier for 3,200,000 baht, approximately $85,000, significantly below market value for quick sale. The buyer was a Thai businessman who knew nothing of Ray's situation and believed he was legitimately purchasing property from its legal owner. During the 3 weeks May was supposedly in Chiang Mai, she systematically liquidated every asset Ray had believed they shared. The villa title was transferred to the new owner on October 5th. The Toyota Camry was sold to a dealer in Pattaya on October 8th for 600,000 baht, $16,000. The cafe business license was officially closed on October 10th, with May claiming to government offices that the business had failed and was permanently shutting down. May also made final withdrawals from the joint Bangkok bank account, cleaning out the remaining $230,000 in daily maximum withdrawals over a 2-week period. By the time Ray would discover any of this, the money would be moved through multiple accounts and impossible to trace. On November 6th, 2024, Ray received a text message from May. "I am sorry. My family situation very serious. I need to stay in Chiang Mai longer. maybe 1 month more. Please take care of Cafe. I love you. Ray responded, expressing concern and support, asking if he could do anything to help. May replied thanking him, but saying this was family matter she needed to handle alone. The truth was that May had finished liquidating all of Ray's assets and was preparing her final disappearance. On November 8th, she sent another text. Ray, I need to tell you truth. My family has debts I didn't know about, very serious debts to dangerous people. They say if I don't pay, they will hurt my mother and sister. I had to sell the house and business to pay them. I'm so sorry. I cannot come back to Hua Hin. Please forgive me. Do not try to find me. It is not safe. May. Ray tried calling immediately. The number was disconnected. He tried messaging online, app blocked. He tried Facebook, her account was deleted. He contacted May's mother, but the old woman claimed not to know where May was and hung up when Ray pressed for information. On November 9th, Ray went to the cafe to open for the day and found a notice on the door from the building owner. This property is closed by order of government. Business license terminated. Do not enter. Ray stood staring at the notice, his confusion transforming to dread. He drove home, or tried to drive home, but his car was not in the carport where he had parked it the previous evening. He walked to the villa and found the front door unlocked, swinging slightly in the breeze. Inside, everything was gone. The furniture, the appliances, the personal items all removed. Only the envelope on the kitchen counter remained, containing May's brief goodbye note. Ray checked his bank account on his phone. Balance, $37. He tried calling May again, desperate for explanation. Number disconnected. Ray walked through the empty villa, finally understanding what had happened, but unable to fully accept it. Everything he owned, the house, the car, the business, the accessible money had been taken. Not stolen in the criminal sense, because everything had been legally registered in May's name, taken through manipulation and legal exploitation, but taken completely nonetheless. Ray spent the first 48 hours after discovering the theft in shock, alternating between denial and rage. There had to be some explanation. May couldn't have done this deliberately. Perhaps she really was in crisis, really had family debts, really intended to return his money once her problems were resolved. But the systematic nature of it, the house sale weeks before she even left, the car sale while she was supposedly in Chiang Mai, the cafe closure, the account draining, all of it indicated careful planning, not crisis response. May had been preparing this for weeks, possibly months. Every aspect of Ray's life in Thailand had been quietly liquidated while he trusted her completely. Ray contacted a lawyer recommended by one of his expat friends. The lawyer listened to Ray's story and examined the documents Ray had saved electronically: property deed, vehicle registration, business license, bank account agreements. His assessment was devastating. Sir, I am sorry, but legally you own nothing. The house was registered solely in your wife's name. Thai law allows spouse to sell conjugal property without other spouse's signature in certain circumstances, especially if she claims family emergency and you are not contesting. The vehicle was registered in her name with you, listed only as approved driver. The business was registered in her name alone. You signed documents stating you were providing financial support but not claiming ownership. And bank account was joint ownership, meaning she had legal right to withdraw all funds. But I paid for everything, Ray protested. The money was mine. We were married. Doesn't that give me any rights? In theory, yes. You could file case claiming your marital property rights were violated, but proving it would require showing she acted fraudulently from the beginning, which is very difficult. She can claim she sold property to pay debts, which is legal. She can claim business failed, which is her right as owner. She can claim she withdrew money for legitimate family expenses. Proving otherwise requires evidence you probably don't have. How much would it cost to try? Legal fees for this type of case, maybe 500,000 to 700,000 baht, 13,000 to 18,000 US dollars. Case would take 1 to 2 years. And even if you win, recovering money from her is different problem. If she spent it or moved it, winning judgment doesn't mean you get money back. Ray filed reports with Thai police, providing all documentation of the marriage, the property purchases, the timeline of May's disappearance. The officers were sympathetic, but clear that from legal perspective, May had committed no crime. She was legal owner of property. She had legal right to sell property she owns. She had legal right to withdraw money from joint account. Unless you can prove she married you specifically to steal from you, prove fraud from very beginning, we cannot prosecute. Ray contacted the Australian embassy in Bangkok. A consular officer listened to his situation and provided resources but could offer limited help. The embassy could not intervene in Thai legal matters, could not force prosecution, could not recover his assets. They could only provide information about support services and legal resources. Ray hired a private investigator to locate May. The investigator worked for 3 weeks and reported that May had used false surname when meeting Ray Sutham was not her family name, and her identification documents had been sophisticated forgeries. The real estate, cafe, and vehicle had all been sold through intermediaries who did not know May personally and could not provide information about her current location. She's done this before, the investigator reported. We found 2 other foreign men, a German and a Brit, who lost money to a woman matching her description using similar methods. Different name each time, but the pattern is identical. She's professional, probably part of organized network. Finding her is essentially impossible because we don't know her real name or identity. By December 2024, Ray had accepted that his property and money were permanently gone. The villa had been sold legitimately to a buyer who had no obligation to return it. The car had been sold through normal channels. The cafe equipment had been sold or removed. The $230,000 from the bank account had been moved through various accounts and was untraceable. Ray's remaining assets totaled approximately $67,000, the $70,000 he had kept in Australian accounts minus approximately $3,000 he had spent on legal fees and the investigator. From $480,000 to $67,000 in 19 months, he had lost approximately $413,000 to May's systematic exploitation. Ray moved into a small studio apartment in Hua Hin, a single room with bathroom, costing 9,000 baht monthly, approximately $240. The apartment was in a less desirable neighborhood, older building, no view or amenities, but affordable on Ray's constrained budget. With $67,000 and needing to live perhaps another 20 to 25 years, Ray calculated he could survive on approximately $220 monthly from careful investment returns, supplemented by the $240 he would need to withdraw monthly for rent alone. His total sustainable budget was approximately $700 monthly, barely sufficient for rent, food, utilities, and minimal other expenses. Ray took a part-time job helping a Thai immigration consulting firm with document preparation for foreign retirees, work that paid 12,000 baht monthly, approximately $320, and provided crucial buffer above his investment returns. Combined income of approximately $540 monthly plus $220 from investments gave him $760, total minimally adequate for survival in Hua Hin. His life had contracted from retirement dream to mere survival. The villa, the cafe, the comfortable life with a loving partner, all revealed as temporary illusion designed to extract his wealth. Ray joined an expat support group for men who had lost money to Thai wives or partners. The group met weekly at a cheap restaurant, and Ray found grim familiarity in their stories. Foreign retirees who had married quickly, registered property in Thai names, given access to bank accounts, and been systematically robbed through legal mechanisms that left them with no recourse. The property scam is particularly devastating, one British man explained to the group, because you think you're following law correctly. Foreign can't own land, everyone knows this. So you put property in wife's name. You think marriage protects you, but if wife decides to liquidate, she can do it legally because the property is legally hers. You have almost no protection. Ray began warning newly arrived expats about May's specific tactics: the meet cute with returned wallet, the extended period of refusing gifts and money to establish false independence, the rapid marriage followed by property purchases, the insistence on controlling all paperwork and accounts. He estimated his warnings reached hundreds of expats through online forums, support groups, and conversations at expat gathering places. The most dangerous scammers look nothing like scammers, Ray would explain. May presented as independent, employed, uninterested in money. She explicitly rejected my money initially, which made me trust her. That was the scam, making me believe she was different from transactional relationships, so I would trust her with everything. By the time I recognized the pattern, everything was in her name, and she could liquidate it legally. Several expats contacted Ray, thanking him for warnings that had made them recognize similar patterns in their own relationships. One Canadian man had been 3 months into a relationship with a Thai woman who had presented almost identically to May, refusing money, seeming independent, suggesting property purchase in her name for legal compliance. Ray's story made him slow down, hire investigators, and discover his girlfriend had scammed 2 previous foreign men using identical methods. Ray's relationship with his brother in Perth was strained by what remained unspoken, that Ray had been warned by multiple people before marrying May, had ignored those warnings, and was now paying the catastrophic cost of his poor judgment. They maintained monthly phone contact, but the warmth was gone, replaced by dutiful obligation and careful avoidance of topics that might trigger Ray's shame or his brother's frustration. Through 2025, Ray settled into his diminished existence, his tiny apartment, his low-wage consulting work, his warnings to other expats, his bitter acceptance that he would spend his remaining years in poverty rather than the comfortable retirement he had worked 40 years to earn. Raymond Douglas is now 65 years old, living in a studio apartment in Hua Hin and working part-time for an immigration consulting firm. The $480,000 he brought to Thailand after selling his Australian properties has been reduced to approximately $60,413,000 lost to May's systematic property scam, $7,000 spent on futile legal and investigation fees. He never recovered any money or property. May was never found, never prosecuted, never held accountable. She operated under false identity, liquidated Ray's assets through legal channels, and disappeared into anonymity. The villa Ray bought is owned by a Thai businessman who did nothing wrong. The car is owned by someone in Pattaya who purchased it legitimately. The $230,000 that was in their joint account moved through various accounts and vanished. Ray has not attempted another romantic relationship. The betrayal destroyed his capacity to trust Thai women specifically, and more broadly, his ability to believe in the possibility of genuine companionship in his retirement years. He maintains friendly but distant relationships with other expats, always with protective barriers preventing vulnerability. His reputation among Hua Hin expats is as a cautionary tale and a warning voice. He's known as the Australian who lost everything to a property scam, who can explain in detail how the exploitation works, who tries to prevent others from following his path to financial destruction. His warnings to newly arrived retirees have been refined through repetition. Never register property solely in your wife's or girlfriend's name, even if you're married. Thai law supposedly protects conjugal property, but enforcing those rights is expensive and often impossible. If you must have property in Thai name, use company structure with proper legal protection, or accept that long-term lease is safer than false ownership. Never give anyone complete control of your bank accounts. Never trust paperwork you cannot read and verify independently. And most importantly, the woman who seems different from all the others, who explicitly rejects your money and appears independent, may be the most dangerous of all, because she's sophisticated enough to make you trust her completely before taking everything. Ray estimates his public warnings have reached thousands of expats and directly prevented at least 20 men from making similar mistakes. These prevented losses provide him with some sense that his catastrophic experience has value if his destruction can protect others. Perhaps there is redemptive meaning in sharing the story despite the shame attached. When asked if he regrets moving to Thailand, Ray's answer is carefully measured. I don't regret seeking a better retirement destination. Australia is expensive, and Thailand offered good quality of life for retirees. I regret not verifying May's identity before marrying her. I regret registering everything in her name without proper legal protection. I regret trusting marriage to protect property rights without understanding Thai law thoroughly. But the fundamental desire for companionship and the decision to retire in Thailand, those weren't mistakes. The execution was catastrophically flawed, but the intentions were reasonable. He continues working his consulting job, living in his studio apartment, warning newcomers, and surviving on approximately $760 monthly. His $60,000 in remaining savings, if carefully managed, might last another 8 to 10 years before complete depletion. After that, Ray will be entirely dependent on his $320 monthly work income unless age or health prevents him from continuing to work, in which case he faces destitution. His final message and warnings to expats has become his signature closing. I didn't lose a wife, I lost the illusion of safety. I thought marriage, legal documents, and joint decision-making protected me. But in reality, everything was always in her control, because Thai law gave her that control, and I failed to understand that legal title determines ownership regardless of who provided the money. The moment I registered property in her name, it was hers. Everything else was just delay until she decided to liquidate. Don't make my mistake. Don't confuse trust with legal protection. They're completely different things, and conflating them will cost you everything you own. Raymond Douglas survives in Hua Hin as a warning to others. A man who followed legal requirements that were weaponized against him, who trusted a marriage that provided no actual protection, who built a retirement dream on foundations he never legally controlled. The villa stands occupied by someone else. The cafe space is now a noodle shop owned by a Thai family. The car drives Thai streets under different ownership, and Ray exists in permanent aftermath, working low-wage job in his 60s, living in poverty, warning others while knowing most will ignore his warnings just as he ignored similar warnings before his own destruction. Some lessons, he understands now, can only be learned through catastrophic experience, and some losses are permanent.